What's up, guys? It's your boy Ace, and today we're going to recap the first round that went on last night. Pretty exciting stuff. There was some shocking picks, I think, for everybody. And I've got the day two draft going on right behind me, so that's not finished, so we're not going to talk about it. But I want to kind of just touch on a few picks and get your guys' opinions. First, I just want to say, let me know in the comments what you wanted from your team, and if you got it, and if you didn't, let me know who you wanted when you guys were on the clock and you're disappointed that you didn't get. Because for me, for instance, at 23, I really wanted them to take Harold Landry. But Harold Landry actually slid out of the first round, which was extremely surprising to me. I guess teams don't like how he plays a run, or, they weren't overly enthused that his 2017 film wasn't as good as his 2016. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about him much more, though, because, he wasn't in the first round. But let's start at the top. This was the big one. A lot of people didn't have Baker going at number one. And, there's a report that came out earlier in the day that was saying, the Browns are leaning towards Baker. And people were saying, oh, this report's bullshit. It's just, fabrication before the draft. And it ended up being true. I'm not surprised. I thought Baker was the best quarterback in this year's draft. I thought it was going to be Darnold, though. I thought he was the safer pick to take at one. And I think Cleveland got it right. And honestly, they're setting him up for success. For once, they're setting their quarterback up for success. Usually it's like a complete dumpster fire. But they added so much talent this offseason. Like the trade for Jarvis Landry. He's going to be Baker's best friend. And, Josh Gordon hopefully makes his comeback. They drafted David Njoku from Miami last year. They also have Duke Johnson. I think they drafted a running back today, too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Bradley Chubb, I think. They're honestly, guys, they could be a 7-win team with this new roster. So 7 more wins than they had last year, which is pretty damn good. I'm not going to talk about every single player. I'm just going to talk about the ones that kind of surprised me. So the Browns, again, at 4. Denzel Ward. I didn't like this pick simply because they could have had a special opportunity to add Bradley Chubb. So the quote-unquote best pass rusher in back-to-back drafts, which you don't really get that opportunity often. And when you get that opportunity, you should take it because a pass rusher is the second most valuable position right behind quarterback. So you could have had at 1, the most valuable quarterback, and then 2, at 4, you get your pass rusher. Well, a second pass rusher because Myles Garrett's still the guy. And he's better than Bradley Chubb. But, I don't know. I just think Bradley Chubb was the better pick. But I can completely understand Ward. He is a fantastic player. He was the top-ranked corner. And he feels a need. Josh Allen at 7. So, obviously, I've been on record not a big fan of Josh Allen. I think he would have been there at 12. I think the Bills kind of panicked. They traded 2 second-rounders to the Bucks to move up to 7. And, Bucks dropped down to 12. And I think he would have just been there at 12, especially given the tweets that came out and everything like that. I don't know. I think the Bills shit the bed on this one. And we'll see. He's in our division, so I might be eating crow. We'll see. Josh Rosen at 10. He was pissed about going 10, if I'm not mistaken. This is just based on what my friend told me. He told me that Josh Rosen was pissed. I don't know if he's talking about a clip or something, but, I'm not surprised. I personally think Josh Rosen is a really competitive guy, and I think he's going to be good in this league because he doesn't need this. For those of you who don't know his background, he comes from a very affluent background. He's the grandson of the guy who founded Wharton Business School, so his family has money, and I think both of his parents are prominent doctors, and they won Olympic gold medals. He comes from a crazy family. He doesn't need the NFL. He just wants to ball out. So I think he is a good pick here for the Cardinals. And then 12, okay, so funny story. Well, it's not that funny, but I have a friend who's a Bucks fan, and they were obviously at 7, and they traded back to 12, and they got 2 second-rounders, which is a great haul just for dropping 5 spots. And once the Finns were on the clock, it was Minka and Derwin were still on the board. So he's like, okay, cool. We just got 2 second rounders, and we're still going to get one of these two guys. Well, no, they throw a complete curveball and they pick Vita Vea, which absolutely nobody had on their mocks. I didn't see anybody have Vita Vea on their mocks. And I don't really see the need. Now, you don't always draft for need, but that D-line was already really good. And Vita Vea is not going to improve the pass rush, but he's a good run stuffer. He's going to occupy possibly double team so the linebackers can roam free. I get the pick, but I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of it. Marcus Davenport, I think you don't really trade that kind of assets, trade another first-round pick to move up to get a raw defensive end. I think, he would have been a fine pick if he fell to them at, 25? I'm not a big fan of the pick. We'll see how it pans out. Obviously, they're high on him. Colton Miller at 15 was a complete reach. Tremaine Edmonds at 16 was a great find, as well as Derwin James at 17. Packers filled a great need with Jair Alexander. A lot of people had him as the best corner over Denzel Ward. I still thought Denzel Ward was better. Leighton Vander Esch, I believe this was a reach, but I love him as a player. I would have loved for the Patriots to have him at 31, which is where I mocked him. He has incredible athleticism, and I think he would have been the next Teddy Bruschi for the Pats, but clearly the Cowboys were high on him. They took him at 19. Billy Price, honestly, guys, I didn't watch any film on Billy Price. I have no idea about him. I've heard his name before, but I never really looked into him. Rashaan Evans, Mike Vrabel jumped over the Patriots to get him, thinking Rashaan Evans was going to go to the Patriots. But no, they go with Isaiah Wynn and Sony Michel. So they get 2 UGA Bulldogs in the first round, which is pretty rare. And, that's kind of exciting in a way because the Patriots now have 4 UGA Bulldogs on the offense. They have Wynn, Michel, then they have Andrews as the center, and then also Malcolm Mitchell coming off injury as a wide receiver. So lots of talent from UGA there for the Patriots. Hayden Hurst, I didn't like this pick at all. Ozzie Newsome has a soft spot for tight ends. So he kind of reached on that one in my opinion. Calvin Ridley, I thought this was a fantastic pick considering the Falcons are really stacked at pretty much every position. They really had the luxury of picking Calvin Ridley. And, I mean, if you just think about it, guys, that offense is going to be so crazy good. Remember how good they were when they made it to the Super Bowl. They still have Freeman. They still have Coleman as running backs. Then they have Julio, Sanu, and now Ridley. And Ridley can line up anywhere. You can stack him. If you can stack him and keep him from getting pressed, he's going to run insanely crisp routes. And Matt Ryan's, he's going to pick defenses apart. Rashad Penny, he was my sleeper pick of the draft. A lot of people know who he is, but I thought he was like a second or third round pick. And that's why I had him as a sleeper. And he went as a first round pick. So that kind of confirms that, a couple teams are really looking at him as a first round talent. Then we have Taven Bryan. I don't like that pick for the Jags because they're like way too stacked at D-line already. Mike Hughes. Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes, and Mike Hughes. Pretty solid trio right there. And then, of course, the big pick here was Lamar Jackson at 32. I think he deserves to go as a first-round pick because he's just like a generational athlete. But actually, I don't have a real gripe with it. I just think people overhype him a little too much. He's not ready. He might not ever be ready, and he might have some serious durability issues due to his size and his playing nature. He needs to really start getting past his first read and not freaking out. If he at least gets to 2 reads, if he can just be in a simple offense that basically runs on 2 reads, then he could be really good. He'll give you a lot of options. You just have to build your system around that. That's kind of what they did with Cam Newton when he first came into the league. They really simplified the offense and made it easy to run for him. But that's pretty much it. That's all I just wanted to recap on the first round, what happened. I think I hit on 2 picks out of 32, which is fucking terrible. But it doesn't make me feel that bad considering most analysts hit on 3 or 4. So most people, just throwing blind darts at a dartboard. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll see you guys later.